Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Tackroom Training Talks, and today we're going to talk about the importance of your core. So first of all, what is your core? Well, your core is your centre, okay? So it is all the muscles in the middle of you, down through your back. You may have heard instructors talk to you about cores in the past, core engagement. You may have a really thorough understanding of what this means, or it may be new to you. So we're just going to discuss that in a little bit more detail and how that impacts your riding position. The position and alignment of your core has a direct impact on how your seat bones are attached to the saddle. So your two seat bones should be pointing down in the saddle, and that forms the basis of you almost plugging into the horse's back. That is your main point of communication with your horse. So that has got to be good. Your seat also includes your inner thigh. Having your cores well maintained and aligned is going to give you the seat bones that are pointing downward. So what are the variations of this? I think we've all come across times in our riding where we've been told to sit tall or draw up, or in some variation, a version of sit taller. And what that makes riders do is sit really tall with their shoulders back, and there's this leaning back that happens, and then a hollowing of the back occurs. So let's have a look at that from the side. So if I'm sitting tall, and this is often what we tell our children to do when we're asking them to sit up straighter, we get them to sit like this with their shoulders back and their chest lifted. As you can see, there's an obvious leaning back in my body here now, and here this is really hollow, and now my seat bones are pointing back. So I'm tipping forward on my pelvis, I'm tipping forward and lifting with my chest, and I'm ultimately leaning backwards. So this is not a balanced position. What that also does to your body is it stretches your front line, and it collapses your back line, it squashes your back line. So here is stretched, and here is condensed, okay? So what cannot happen then when you've got that position happening is your core cannot be strong. It's not stacked up anymore. So it's like the front has been overstretched and the back has been over scrunched down. So it can't work in alignment. It can't be strong. The alternative to the hollow-backed, very common position is the round-backed rider, where they drop their chest and they drop their tummy back. And from the side, that is going to look quite hunched over in two areas. And what happens here is my seat bones tip forward and I slouch back, almost like I'm just sitting on a settee at home. But of course, when we do this, the front line now is squashed down and the back line is stretched out. So equally in that position, the core can't have any strength because it's not stacked up correctly. Equally, either of those two positions, they don't support your spine, and your spinal health when you're riding is really important. But if they're not correctly supported with the right stacking of the body and the stacking of the muscles, then this isn't good for us. Helping a rider find core alignment and to find their seat bones can be quite challenging, because the position that they've been holding for however long will feel super normal to them. So how do we start making improvements in our core? Well, first of all, it's a really good idea to become super aware of your seat bones and what position they take. If you sit hollow on the horse, it's likely at other areas in your life you're also hollow, walking around, sitting at your desk, whatever it is that you might do. You're probably in a hollow position more often than not. So then that just transfers up into the saddle. Find a chair with a hard surface on it, sit on the chair and find out where your body wants to go first. So mine always wants to go a little bit hollow, and then my seat bones, they lighten away because now they're pointing back. So I'm not on the point of my seat bone anymore when I'm hollow. And then you're going to just rotate through to where your seat bones are pointing down. And then you're going to go all the other way so that you get to a round back position where your seat bones are pointing forward. Once you've done that a few times, you can find your upright, you can find your straightness in your body, and then your cores start to be able to engage and be strong and support your body. And you will feel when you're in your what we call neutral spine, so seat bones pointing down and your back with its natural curve but not extra, you will find that your tummy muscles start to just turn on a little bit and start to engage and hold you in that position. That's the position that you need to be holding when you're in the saddle. So that's where you start. When you start to change your position during your riding, it's going to feel super weird. And I get a lot of feedback from clients, and I went through this myself. I had to relearn all of this myself in my 20s, very early 20s, so quite a long time ago now. And I was a very hollow backed rider, and I used to be in a ski along position because my horse would run out from underneath me a little bit, so I would be in a hollow position with my legs a little bit forward. So when I had to relearn this myself, it was weird. It gives you some weird sensations, and some of the things that come up are, once you're in neutral spine and your seat bones are correctly pointing down and your core is able to start to help you and start to get strong, you're going to feel a bit vulnerable because it's very different. You might feel quite weak in your riding position, where if you were stuck in a different position before and this was quite rigid, you would feel a lot stronger, but it's not really a strong position. It's tension that keeps you there. It's not just muscles doing their job. So when you come out of that, you are going to feel a little bit vulnerable. You're going to feel a little bit weak through the body, because also you're now activating different muscle chains to keep you in this new position, and they're just not as strong as your old habits are. Okay, so be prepared for it to feel very weird. Okay, it's going to make you want to run back towards your old position, which is also very common. And when you start doing this, make sure that you're just reminding yourself about it as often as you can. So you put yourself into neutral spine with your seat bones pointing down, and your core starts to be able to engage and gather some strength. And then you're going to forget about it in 2 minutes, and that's fine. And you remind yourself and you put yourself back there. And over time, your cores will get stronger because you're now using them more effectively, and your other patterns will start to fall away. If you are a hollow-backed rider who has sat tall with a hollow here and your seat bones pointing back, when you are corrected into correct alignment, so when your chest has to drop and you need to come onto the point of your seat bones and your back flattens out here, you are probably going to feel like you have gone super hunched over, because it's going to feel really alien to you. You won't have gone super hunched over. You've just come into your neutral spine and your correct alignment. But the change, although it looks small to us on the ground, it's going to feel huge, even though it is a small change. If you are a round-backed rider, once you are corrected up into the correct core alignment with your seat bones pointing down, you are going to feel very much like you've gone super tense, and that there's a lot of work for you to do to stay here and maintain this. That's going to feel hard, okay? Positional changes always feel strange. They feel weird. They can feel hard. Sometimes they can feel a little bit uncomfortable in areas, hopefully not too much. And if that's the case, you need to let your instructor know. They shouldn't cause any pain, but it's having faith in the process. This is the key thing to improve your riding, is getting your core alignment better. Once you start to correct your core alignment, come into neutral spine and you get the correct plugging with your seat bones, you may find that if you've had any arm positional problems, leg positional problems, they start to become less, because now they're not needed to hold you on the horse and grip and help you balance on the horse, because your core is now taking some of that responsibility. So your legs and your arms can be used for the things that they were supposed to be used for, which is aiding and directing your horse rather than anchoring you onto the pony. Changing your position is not easy, but it is super beneficial for you and your horse. Your communication will get better, your balance will get better, your body strength will get better, and it will make riding an all-round better experience for you and your horse. If you have any questions or have any feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Have fun, guys. We'll see you next time.